The day of reckoning is here, at least at the nation's airports. Flights have been cut at 40 airports across the country. That is because air traffic controllers have been working an already very stressful job of safely directing planes and pilots, but they are doing it with staffing shortages and without pay. What are the passengers saying?
The traffic controllers having to work without pay all this time, I think, is just unreal. It shouldn't be.
Every time I get to the airport, I'm like, am I going to get to my destination? Am I going to make it back from my destination?
I mean, nobody want to travel and then you end up getting stuck. So that's definitely a concern for a lot of us.
I'm just sick of it. It's like, what about us?
These issues at the airports are due to the government shutdown, which is now in its 38th day. President Trump is again demanding Republicans to kill the filibuster in order to end the shutdown. And today, Trump met with Hungary's leader at the White House. Hungary wants to keep buying Russian oil. Will Trump oblige? Also had the fortune of Elon Musk just keeps getting bigger. But is it too big? And what is too big? Musk could soon be a trillionaire. $1 trillion is 12 zeros. It is an eye-popping number. Something else that's catching our eye tonight was why are all these dogs blue? The dogs are roaming the uninhabited lands of Chernobyl. It is the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. So what is happening to the dogs? But first, the Senate voting down a measure to require congressional approval for any military action by President Donald Trump against Venezuela. The vote failed 49-51. Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski and Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joined all 47 Democrats voting in support of the measure. Hours after the vote, the U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announced another strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean. Trump administration has carried out at least 17 strikes in the region, killing at least 69 people. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, said this regarding these strikes.
Ellos creen que la vida es una película mala de Hollywood, donde ellos, los supremacistas, Rambo, ganan todo y nosotros somos los malos siempre. Ellos son los buenos. Con todo lo que hacen, bombardear, matar, despreciar.
Retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General and former U.S. Deputy Military Representative to NATO, Blaine Holt, joins me. Good evening, sir. And let me say at the top, I don't want any narco-terrorists in this country. However, we do have a Constitution. We do value life. We do value we have certain values that we want to enforce. So far, there's at least one report out of the AP that one of those boats that we hit recently was a fisherman struggling to eke out a living on $100 a month. Another was a career criminal. A third was a former military cadet. And a fourth was a down-on-his-luck bus driver. I don't know about the other ones, but do you have any concerns about striking these boats?
No, I don't have any concerns about striking these boats. I know what we're trying to do. There's a bigger strategy going on here. And there is the unfortunate real face of warfare involves the loss of people like this who are on desperate times, and this is the economy that they face, and so they take the risk. But at the larger picture, what the president is doing with the war on the cartels is, Greta, he's hitting at every single illicit activity on this planet because of the laundering, not just the fentanyl or the human trafficking risks, but the others. And he is, without a full invasion force, having quite an impact as Maduro is screaming bloody murder in all directions, providing us with intelligence, and potentially, as we're speaking right now, trying to cut a back-channel deal for his own exile.
You know, I have no problem at all with hitting narco-terrorists. None at all. They have no sympathy for me. They're doing bad things. They're poisoning 80,000 people a year in this country, probably at least 80,000. But the thing that bothers me is I don't know the quality of our intelligence. I don't know what we're getting. I don't know how we're collecting it. I'm not satisfied that Congress is being rightfully informed. That there is a role for Congress in some of this. So that's where I have a problem.
I absolutely share your concern on the role that Congress should be playing in all of this. That is true and proper. Now, the lawyers on the White House side are going to argue that the war on drugs was never really closed out, and that his role as commander-in-chief backs him up legally on this stuff. But the advice and consent with the Congress is always preferable in any kind of military action. And I think that absolutely needs to happen. But is the war legitimate? Yes. The cartels are on every single main street in America. And even if you're a down-on-your-luck bus driver, if you're bringing fentanyl here, you're a target.
But I don't know but I don't know the point that that down-elected bus driver was bringing fentanyl. That's my point. I mean, if he's bringing fentanyl, fine. He's joined the war against the United States. Sure. I get that, but I'm not satisfied that he necessarily was. I mean, some of these people are doing other things. It's in international waters, but as I understand it, is that the authority the president is doing this on is from the 2001, which is 24 years ago, authorization for use of military force, which allows lethal force against terrorists, and it's just sort of a blanket power given President Bush back 24 years ago, and it's still being used. And I'm happy to get narco-terrorists. I'm happy to win this war. But is there collateral damage there? Is there unfair collateral damage there that we're not taking account of?
Yeah, that's the conundrum, because operational security is going to make it very tough for you to get a good feeling that the intel that they're working off of is good intel. And I understand the gaps along our history over the past 30 years that we have seen. I recall a Secretary of State sitting down to tell everybody about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But at the same time, they have to fight this war right now, today, as it's defined, and that is going to involve some intelligence. So advice and consent with the Congress, I think, is imperative. But my bigger concern in this entire thing is, we're vulnerable here in the United States as we start to pull on this string. The cartels are every main street in the United States, and as they get pressured and pushed, we're going to see problems here, and we need to be resilient and ready for it. And I hope the president will get at the Resolute desk and explain all that to us and what we're in for.
Well, I think what you raised, and just for a little more context, was the 2003 testimony of former Secretary of State Colin Powell in early February of 2003. He said he'd just been over to the CIA, he just had been briefed, and then he reported to the world at the UN that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction that that were never found. He had them in the 80s when he was using chemical warfare against Iran, but nobody ever found those chemical weapons that put us in that war for 15 years or however long we were there.
Right, exactly.
All right, so no boots on the ground or anything. That's clear. The Congress at least has spoken on that. That two Republicans have joined the Democrats on doing that about the military. But I'm just, I don't know how I would fight this war entirely. I mean, like I said, I'm glad that he's fighting this war. But the execution of it, I wish he'd bring Congress in more into this. Although I'm not so sure how cooperative Congress would be.
It has to be a whole of government approach. What my hope is that rather than seeing the Iraq or the Afghan model, what we see emerge is that the Treasury Department is as involved with this, that we're doing clandestine operations in kleptocracy and banking and the financial crumbs, because the bad guys in South America and in Beijing are providing us with all kinds of intelligence, whether they want to or not, every time they see a boat or an asset or money go up in flames. And so this really is going to have to be a much more intellectual, fifth-generation warfare type of approach. Brute force with jets, not going to get it done. 130,000 forces in your country, not going to answer that mail. This is like fighting a kudzu vine, and it wraps the world.
General, if the intelligence is good, I'm all for it. But the problem is I've lived through the USS Cole, 9/11, and so many other intelligence breaches in my lifetime where we're depending on the intelligence communities that, we've been burned before, so I'm a little bit, concerned.
I share your concerns. I've been in an operational flight suit at some of those lapses and nearly in trouble for it. So it's an imperfect science to be sure, but at the same time, advice and consent, transparency where it can be, and then an announcement explanation from the Resolute desk, I think would go a long way. It would help.
I'd love to have President Trump, address the nation on it. And I think people aren't paying that much attention to this and hear what he has to say on it. Brigadier General Blaine Holt, thank you, sir.
Great to be with you.
Coming up, thousands of flights delayed and canceled today. That when the record continues.
Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country.
Before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers ahead in a new book, Pagan Threat, authored by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said Pagan Threat could save America and that you must read it. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer. Plus, get Dick Morse's new book, The Real Charlie Kirk. 2 great books with our free offer today.
I'm Elmer Heinrich, at 91 years of age, here with my wife Shirley, who is 83. Now, both of us are still cutting a wide swath in life, all because of Immuno 150. Now, we are asking you to use Immuno 150 like we do. Give it a chance for at least 90 days so that you can see what 70 plant minerals and 80 additional nutrients can do for you.
It really is incredible.
Yeah, try it. You will be surprised. Order now. You'll be glad you did.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
I love Rise mushroom coffee, and not just because I look good drinking it.
Hello there.
The all-day energy I get is good too, and it's easy on the stomach. But mostly, it's because I look good drinking it.
It's just like our new house. I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age. Sign up today at ahs.com.
According to FlightAware, more than 900 flights in the United States are canceled and 3,800 flights delayed. The FAA is reducing traffic due to concerns about overworked and unpaid air traffic controllers. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy says flights have been reduced 4% at 40 airports, but in the next week that number will go up from a 4% reduction to a 10% reduction. Today, Secretary Duffy went to Reagan National Airport.
It is not a science, it is an art that we're trying to deploy to keep people safe in the airspace. And we're trying to be, we're trying to prevent the pressure that we now see building in the system. There's a very easy solution. Let's open the government up. A few points that we look at that are sending us in the wrong direction, right? So number one, loss of separation in the airspace. So that's the minimum distance we keep between aircraft to keep them safe. We've seen breaches, more breaches in regard to that loss of separation. We see more incursions on tarmacs throughout the country. And we have more complaints from pilots about stress from air traffic controllers and more complaints about the lack of responsiveness from controllers.
Texas Republican and Chairman of the Aviation Subcommittee, Congressman Troy Nehls, joins me. Good evening, sir.
Very good to be with you. Thank you.
The stress must be insurmountable on these air traffic controllers. They're not getting paid, and of course they have to pay their bills like everybody else. If the worst happens, if there is an accident and it's due to air traffic control error, mistake from the stress, what's going to happen to the airline industry?
Well, I don't know if the people can feel they can trust it anymore. I don't know if the American people, you know, we've estimates of 1 billion people traveling. You got more people wanting to fly to go see grandma and grandpa for whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. So more people are flying. We have almost 50,000 flights daily here in the United States. And we have, 29 million miles of airspace, 29 million miles. And how are we trying to keep the American people safe? By Chuck Schumer not paying the air traffic controllers? We're 2,500 short. So there's been a problem before the shutdown. We have 2,500 short of air traffic controllers. I mean, we're bleeding, quite honestly. And now these air traffic controllers are having to deal with the fact that they're working 6 days a week. It's very stressful, the quality of life issues that these individuals are faced, and now they're not getting paid. So you can blame Chuck Schumer for all of this. Shame on him. And God forbid we have an accident. You can blame Chuck Schumer for all of this.
And of course, as you notice, it was in rough shape beforehand. They were using floppy disks in some of the terminal and some of the towers even before we had this shutdown. Two things that I'm curious about is one is that we think of it in terms of passengers, these planes, but they have big cargo bins underneath, the big cargo holds. They're carrying, they're an important part of our economy and moving things around this country. So that's one impact I want to ask you about. The second is if they're going to increase separation between planes, if there are fewer air traffic controllers, we have a robust private aircraft now? I mean, a lot of people have private planes. Is that going to be affected? Are those likely to be grounded or anything in order to make way for the commercial flights?
Well, I'm sure it's going to face. So you got they're called Part 121s. That's the commercial airliners, the Uniteds and the Deltas and the Southwest. And then you got different Part 135 and Part 91, which are these small private, like NetJets, for example. But you have to understand, they all fly in the same airspace. I mean, they're all way, way up there, 30-something, 40,000 feet. So this is going to affect them all. This is going to affect cargo. I tell you, the biggest challenge we're going to have, the Republican Party, we put $12.5 billion into modernizing ATC, which stands for air traffic control. We put $12.5 billion into it, and some of those monies were to try to get individuals more interested in air traffic control, give the current air traffic controllers a raise, so we put some more meat on the sandwich, right? And this is going to be very, very difficult. I mean, Greta, if you had a son or a daughter that was interested in air traffic control, would you say, yeah, I think this is a good career to have because, you can make some money. Now you're working very long hours. It's very stressful. But, oh, by the way, should we have a deranged, Trump syndrome guy in the minority leader, which Chuck Schumer is, if he wants to shut down the government, you're not going to get paid. And so the uncertainty and the instability here for air traffic controllers, which has a direct impact on the American people. I sympathize with the people at the airports. When Sean Duffy and them were interviewing them up at DCA, they should pipe those interviews on the Senate floor and listen to the American people that are so frustrated because Chuck Schumer despises Donald Trump. He hates the man. And he doesn't care about not feeding people, the people on SNAP. He doesn't care about people sitting in the airports, delayed flights, canceled flights, because he hates Trump. And he doesn't want to see Trump continue with the success we've seen over the past 10 months. It's about the midterms, Greta. That's my opinion. This is all about the midterm elections.
I think he'd probably have more concern if he were more than 200 miles away and couldn't take the Acela train between Washington and New York. I think the people who are more dependent on airline travel in Congress helps a little bit because you get a better sense if you actually have to go to the airports, if you actually have to change planes and suffer and see what the American citizens are. Look, I regret that so many people are suffering from this inconvenience, don't get to see family, but there are so many life-threatening situations. I've been in airports and seen situations where they're racing through the airport carrying hearts that they intend to transplant in somebody. I mean, there are a lot of really emergency things that go on with our airline industry, and moving cargo around, to get to different parts of the country. I mean, there's so much more than just the inconvenience to the passengers. But so I don't get this one. I don't know why we don't have a rainy day fund for the air traffic controllers. I suppose because we don't have any money. We've run out of money. But I don't understand why we have floppy disks in the towers. I mean, a lot of things about air travel that that the American people just aren't told, and that would probably scare them to death even before the shutdown.
Yeah, and that's why President Trump said we got to modernize ATC. I said it's more than just modernizing ATC; it's modernizing the NAS. That's why we put $12.5 billion into it in our One Big Beautiful Bill, which is really a down payment. But as chair of the subcommittee on aviation, we're meeting with industry and all the stakeholders, and I'm telling you, we have some problems. The equipment, all the satellites, I mean, these things are 40, 50 years old. And if we don't get this resolved, we need to resolve it. We need to resolve it quickly. We need to resolve it quickly.
So I was supposed to go to New York on a flight on Thursday, and I ended up sitting on the runway for a couple hours, never made it to New York. Finally, after how long, they brought us back to the terminal. They refunded our tickets, but I can't tell you how many notices I've gotten from American Airlines since last Thursday saying they've refunded my money. I'm sort of hoping that I got like 15 refunds. I don't know, but I mean, it's all messed up, even what they're telling passengers, the airlines.
Yes, and there's so much technology out there that we need to bring into these towers. We need to believe it or not, Greta, we actually have copper underground. Copper is running these towers and these Tracons. And I said, copper, what the hell do we have copper for when we have fiber? It's like, yeah, we need to bring in fiber. Greta, we've had fiber for 20 years and we haven't deployed it. So there is an enormous amount of work that needs to be done to accomplish the goals and objectives of President Trump by keeping us the gold standard in aviation. But this is just delaying it. It just continues to delay it. And now the individuals that we want to operate these systems, like the air traffic controllers, and we're $2,500 short, we're not paying them. Chuck, I don't care. You don't open up the government, that's on you. Don't blame the Republicans. But at least you could pay the air traffic controllers, pay these essential employees. He won't do it. He's worse than George Soros.
Congressman Troy Nehls, thank you, sir. And let's hope that the airline problem is just an inconvenience and it's not catastrophic. So let's hope for that. Thank you, sir.
God bless.
Remember Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Duggan? In April, she was arrested for allegedly trying to help illegal immigrant Eduardo Flores Ruiz evade an arrest by ICE at the courthouse. She faces federal charges of obstruction and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. Duggan pled not guilty, and her trial is scheduled to begin December 15. The illegal man she allegedly tried to help evade arrest that gave rise to the judge's charges, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, was arrested outside the courthouse, and he has spent nearly 7 months in prison. In September, he pled guilty to illegally re-entering the United States. 2 days ago on Wednesday, he was sentenced to time served. He will soon be deported. Coming up, another guest dropped in to see President Trump. Who and why? When the record continues.
I did not ever think that I would be attacked for being Jewish.
There's a troubling trend of crimes against Jews. Are members of Congress and celebrities adding fuel to that fire? What's triggering it? Watch Newsfront. Anti-Semitism in America.
Hello, I'm Franklin Graham. Have you noticed how much the world is focused on peace right now? Well, the real question is, do you have peace with God? You see, God made us and created us, but we've been separated from Him because of sin. And Jesus Christ is God's Son, and He came from heaven to this earth to save us from our sins. And you can have true peace with God through faith, simply believing on Jesus Christ. And if you're willing to turn from your sins and invite Christ into your heart, God will forgive you, and you can experience that true peace right now. Just pray this prayer with me. Just say, God, I'm a sinner. I'm sorry. I want to turn from my sins. I believe Jesus Christ is your Son. I want to trust Him as my Savior and follow Him as my Lord from this day forward. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, call that number.
If a parent or loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, we are here to help. With our MesoCare promise and decades of experience exclusively helping mesothelioma victims and their families, our firm will fight for the care and compensation you and your family deserve. We'll come to you and put a plan in place. Please call now.
Call now and we'll come to you for a free consultation. Call now at 800-664-2000 or go to mesobook.com.
Look what I just found. No ding decline on the Experian app. They show me credit cards that won't hurt my credit if I'm not approved. Turns out I care about my credit health too. Get the app from your big financial friend. Experian.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
The Ridge wallet is iconic at this point, but I'm just going to speak facts here. It's slim, it's RFID blocking, it's awesome, it's comfortable, I love it. I carry it every day. And then every wallet at Ridge.com has like an unlimited lifetime warranty, so you don't have to worry about it falling apart. Check it out at Ridge.com.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans. Compare drug coverage. Compare costs. See if you can save. And make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Compare plans now at medicare.gov.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, President Donald Trump hosted Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. This was at the White House, and here are a few highlights from their meeting.
It's an honor to have a friend of mine here, Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, and he's done a fantastic job. He's run a really great country, and he's got no crime, he's got no problems like some countries do.
A lot of harm done by the previous administration. In the last 10 months, President, what you have done, we are very much grateful for that. You restored the old level of the relationship. You improved the bilateral relation. You repair what was done badly by the previous administration. So now we are in quite a good position to open up a new chapter, let's say a golden age between United States and Hungary.
We're talking, but we'll report on that later. Meetings with Putin. We were talking about that with Victor. He understands Putin and knows him very well. And I feel that, I'm going to let you say what you think, but I think that Victor feels we're going to get that war ended in the not too distant future. So you would say that Ukraine cannot win that war?
Miracle can happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Also today, President Trump took to Truth Social to announce another country has joined the Abraham Accords. The president saying in part, quote, "I just held a great call between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is the first country of my second term to join the Abraham Accords, the first of many," end quote. Former National Security Advisor, Ambassador Robert O'Brien joins me. Good evening, sir. And President Trump is good friends with I hear the cat. He's good friends with President Trump and Viktor Orban because they've met 6 times in person. What does the Prime Minister of Hungary want from us?
Well, first of all, and thank you for having me on the show tonight. I think the first thing Viktor Orban wants is a good relationship with the United States. I mean, we've got the biggest consumer market in the world. We've got the best military in the world. We're a NATO ally of Hungary, and he doesn't want to be called an autocrat. I mean, he was duly elected many times in Hungary. He's a very well-respected leader, and for some reason, the left takes pleasure in any time a conservative is elected, whether it's Bolsonaro in Brazil or Netanyahu in Israel or Orban in Hungary or President Trump here. Whenever we have a conservative elected, they're an autocrat. And Orban's not an autocrat. He's a friend of President Trump's. And like other countries, he wants to have a great relationship with the U.S. And he wants to have a what he called a golden age of relations between the U.S. and Hungary. And so that's, I think, what he's doing here in diplomacy.
Does Orban or the nation of Hungary buy its oil from Russia? And the reason I ask that is because President Trump is using sanctions as a way to put leverage on President Putin to at least come to the table with a willingness to resolve the war.
No, you're right, Greta, and I've called for sanctions on Russian oil to curb Putin's ambitions in Ukraine and to bring the war to an end. Larry Kudlow has, and President Trump has, and. Hungary's in a difficult situation because they have no port access, so we can't ship them LNG from the U.S. To their ports, and they don't have a lot of pipelines going from the east, where Hungary is, to the west of Europe, so they could get the oil and gas and LNG in Portugal or Spain and have it shipped to Hungary. So that they're in a difficult situation. I think President Trump is sympathetic to the fact that they need to buy Russian oil and gas. It gets cold in Eastern Europe in the winter, as you know, and they need to be able to heat their homes. And so Hungary's a little bit of a unique situation, but we'd like to get the pipelines going from Western Europe to Eastern Europe. The French and others have opposed those pipelines over the years because they too got their oil and gas from Russia. But I think President Trump is sympathetic to the Hungarians on that issue.
President Trump says he thinks that this war is going to end soon. Do you see any sign that this war is going to end soon? Do you see anything that's going to bring Putin to the table?
Greta, I thought that the war would end shortly after President Trump took office, and I was wrong there. Putin has been much more intransigent than we expected. President Trump put a great deal on the table, basically the outlines of the Russians keep Crimea and keep the land they've conquered already. And Ukraine does not join NATO, but gets a security guarantee from NATO countries. Putin has not accepted that, and it's been kind of a surprise to many of us. So I think we're going to have to put more pressure on Putin, but I think Putin's getting to the point where he's losing so many men, and his economy is in such trouble that I think we may be close. But again, he's proven to be very intransigent in this negotiation and in the prosecution of the war. So it's been a bit of a surprise to me. I think President Trump has been a little bit surprised as well.
Turning to the Abraham Accords, what a great accomplishment in the Trump's first administration, getting those countries to sign on to those Abraham Accords. Then the 4 years when President Biden was president, regrettably, nobody joined them. We thought, at least at one point, it looked close that perhaps in 2023 that Saudi Arabia might sign on to them. And then, of course, we had October 7th, and that quickly squashed that. What is your thought on the Abraham Accords?
Well, first of all, it was a great accomplishment of President Trump in the first term, and I told President Trump back in early 2020, his legacy is going to be as a peacemaker, and that was maybe counterintuitive when people thought about Donald Trump, a tough guy, that he'd be known as a peacemaker, but it's that strength that's allowed him to make peace all over the world with conflicts around the world, and the Abraham Accords, of course, is the signature accomplishment of the first term, and I think it will be the second term. I think Saudi is going to join soon. I think the end of the war in Gaza is going to make it more acceptable for more GCC countries, Gulf Cooperation Council countries in the Persian Gulf to join. And so I think we're going to have a nice run in the second term. And Kazakhstan is the first, but Kazakhstan is kind of the leader of those Central Asian countries. So I think we'll have Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan could all join soon, so it's another plaudit to President Trump for making peace.
Much of this, I assume, depends on whether or not the 20-point plan in Israel-Gaza holds. Yeah. Do you see? I see that one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem, and I suspect others do too, the idea that Hamas is going to get rid of their arms.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to get them to lay down their arms. We're going to need a strong peacekeeping force in Gaza, not just a UN-type force where they'll, carry small arms and revolvers and get out of the way of the terrorists. But we need a force that's going to go in and disarm Hamas and give Gaza back to the Palestinians and let them have a chance for a real future. But the other thing, Greta, is Hamas is still holding many, over a dozen Israeli hostages who have died. They've got their remains. And those families, Greta, want their loved ones to come home to Israel, to be buried, to rest in peace in Israel. And they're not going to see them alive, but they want to have a gravesite to go visit. And Hamas has to return the hostages, including a young man named Hader Golden, who was taken as far back as 2014 and dragged through the tunnels and killed. Those remains of the hostages have to get back home so they can be buried in Israel and rest in peace in their homeland.
Ambassador O'Brien, thank you very much, sir. I hope you come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
More devastation in the Philippines. The nation just can't seem to catch a break. A massive typhoon wreaking havoc to the central province of Cebu. A typhoon has caused major flooding, heavy winds, landslides. The storm has killed at least 188 people in the Philippines. That number is expected to rise. The typhoon then moved on to Vietnam, but the Philippines, not yet in the clear. They're about to get hit again. In the coming days, another typhoon is expected to hit the Philippines. And not only that, the Philippines is still recovering from a deadly earthquake that struck in September. Now, back to the United States. If you live east of the Rocky Mountains, you better get ready to bundle up. Starting this weekend, millions of Americans are set to get a cold blast of winter weather. The Midwest, Northeast, and Southeast will be hit with freezing cold temperatures and even snow. Temperatures are forecast to drop 20 degrees colder than normal. The upper Midwest and northern plains will feel the coldest temperature. Meteorologists say the deep freeze will last until early next week. Coming up, someone knows something about Jeffrey Epstein, and now that someone has been summoned to Capitol Hill. Find out who. That when the record continues.
AI company Palantir makes critical decisions for governments around the world. In 2019, Palantir bought $50 million in gold in case of black swan events. Not surprising what followed. In 2020, a pandemic shut down the global economy. And in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. In 2023, we had a regional banking collapse. And in 2025, could a 1929 market crash be the final straw? Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 888-528-4290 before it's too late. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer 8 years in a row, home of the no-fee-for-life IRA. Patriot Gold Group is patriots protecting patriots. Call now, 888-528-4290.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
Are you getting the most from your Medicare plan?
It's overwhelming, actually.
Really confusing. It was always a struggle for us trying to narrow it down.
With Matchfinder by eHealth, it's easy to see if you could get more coverage for less money. So we invited people to give it a try.
This is the first time I'll be able to see the major plans side by side. Put your doctors in, put your prescriptions in.
I'd like to add a doctor. Oh, and there he is.
Yeah, that's a good deal right there.
I'm all about saving money.
See if you could get more for less with a new Medicare plan. Go to eHealth.com and try Matchfinder. Compare your current plan to new 2026 plans from the nation's top insurance companies. Enter your doctors and prescriptions and choose from plans ranked for you by cost, coverage, and satisfaction. Or call this number to compare plans with the help of an eHealth advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose.
Thanks for calling eHealth. How can I help you today?
One thing I'm looking for is lowering prescription costs.
Awesome. We can do this together. This looks like this is going to be pretty cost effective for your prescriptions. So you're saving money across the board while also increasing your benefits. What do you think?
All right, sounds good. Thank you. That was amazing. I mean, it's a great plan.
How was that?
It was easy.
And would you recommend this to other folks?
Heck yeah, if they're paying high prices like I am now. Well, let me tell you, go to these guys.
Call this number for your Medicare plan comparison or get started at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service.
They weren't pushing just one plan. They're going to look for what's perfect for you.
It's going to save me close to about $400 or $500 a year. The Matchfinder, that's the greatest idea I've seen in a long time. The fact that it was free makes it a whole lot better.
Call 1-800-705-0863 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
A British royal has been summoned to the United States Congress. It is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He used to be Prince Andrew, but last week the king stripped him of that title. King Charles, who is Andrew's brother, also evicted Andrew from the royal residence, all because of Andrew's alleged ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And that is why Congress, specifically the Democrats in the House Oversight Committee, want Andrew to testify in a sit-down interview. In a letter to Andrew, the committee writes, quote, "It has been publicly reported that your friendship with Mr. Epstein began in 1999 and that you remained close through and after his 2008 conviction for procuring minors for prostitution. This close relationship with Mr. Epstein, coupled with the recently revealed 2011 mail exchange in which you wrote to him, 'We are in this together,' further confirms our suspicion that you may have valuable information about the crimes committed by Mr. Epstein and his co-conspirators," end quote. Lawmakers are demanding Andrew respond to the request by November 20th, which is less than 2 weeks away. Royals commentator and journalist Josh Rom joins me. Nice to see you again, Josh.
Lovely to see you too, Greta.
Okay, Josh, I know how this is making headlines here. Is it making headlines in the UK, and is Andrew likely to come and talk to Congress?
Well, the answer to that is yes, this is absolutely making headlines in the UK. I think anything involving Prince Andrew at the moment is making headlines in the UK. And that's the problem for the royal family, is this story, even after they've effectively stripped Andrew Mountbatten Windsor of his birthright, of all titles, of all honours, he is still proving to be the distraction. Now, it's not a question of whether or not he can go to Congress now, because now that he's lost all the titles, the honours, the prince birthright itself, he no longer has any sort of diplomatic immunity or that royal protection. He's now very much considered a private citizen. It's whether or not he will. Now, this is a catch-22 situation for Andrew, because we know how terrible he is in interviews. We saw in the BBC Newsnight interview just how much of a car crash on top of a train wreck that was. And in that interview, he's since been caught out from lying. But Andrew has always denied any wrongdoing. He's always protested his innocence. So common sense would say, well, if he's got nothing to hide, if he is innocent, then surely, because he hasn't been summoned on a charge, he's been invited to cooperate according to that 2-page letter. So common sense should say, well, if he's innocent, then he'll have absolutely no problem in going to testify, in going to cooperate, in going for that interview with the House Oversight Committee. However, if he doesn't go, and if he doesn't cooperate, then it will look like he's got something to hide. So no matter what he does, because he's in a catch-22 situation, we know how terrible he is in interviews. But if he doesn't go to Congress, will it look like he's guilty? That's the existential question now facing Andrew.
Well, as I recall, going back, as he got sued by one of the women involved in this, or she was a girl supposedly at the time, and he settled it. And you know, people oftentimes settle cases just to get rid of them, and they throw would be chump change, change we call it in the law, just to get rid of it. But as I recall, what leaked out is that it was a sizable settlement. I don't know where he got the money or who got the money. So I mean, he's also, in some ways, that's sort of an admission.
Well, it is an admission, except in that specific lawsuit, there was no admission of wrongdoing, and they settled that lawsuit with that caveat written into that contract, into that agreement. Now, it was a £12 million lawsuit, so has been reported up to that amount. But we know the money came from, allegedly, Her Majesty the Queen. And one of the reasons, and we have to think back to that time and the reasons why he did settle with Virginia Giuffre, was because it was coming up to Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee, a massive celebration. And again, it was this link to Jeffrey Epstein, this link to Ghislaine Maxwell. The accusations from Virginia Giuffre threatened to overshadow what was a historic state event for the entire country. Again, that word is distraction. So I think Andrew at the time was facing pressure from, especially, it was reported at the time that he was facing pressure from his brother, the now king, to settle, even though it was very much reported that Andrew wanted to go to trial, he wanted to clear his name. But at that moment in time when it was settled with the inclusion of the caveat of Andrew rejects any wrongdoing, does not admit to any wrongdoing. And that was a very important caveat to include in that lawsuit for the former prince. But that's the thing. That was then when he was a prince, when he had the protection of his mother. This is now when he's no longer got the royal protection. He is now a private citizen, simply going to be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He doesn't have that royal protection anymore. He doesn't have that diplomatic immunity. The optics remain terrible. So if he doesn't go, he automatically then looks like he's got something to hide, because that's what the House Oversight Committee said in that 2-page letter, that he might have information for them. Again, no actual criminal charge there.
We only have about 30 seconds left. Who's he get a colder shoulder from? His nephew, Prince William, or from his brother, King Charles?
Well, from what I'm hearing from royal sources, His Majesty was actually the one being very resolute in the decision, whilst Prince William was concerned for Andrew's mental health. However, we did see, as I previously reported on the programme, the Duchess of Kent's funeral, where Prince William publicly expressed nothing but utter disdain for his uncle. But we do know that Prince William is leading the monarchy. He is also going to be very resolute going into the future, and those are the kinds of senses that we've been getting from his team.
What about Andrew's children? Are they stripped of their titles?
No, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie still retain those titles, and actually they've been seen just today having a really sweet embrace, hugging, spending time together. They're understood to be there for their father. But again, this whole scandal, the girls are, as far as we know, completely innocent. They've done nothing to deserve this. This must be deeply embarrassing for Princess Beatrice and Eugenie.
Must be very tough for them, because I'm sure they love their father. Josh Rom, thank you.
Thanks so much, Greta.
And after 4 months on the run, a former NFL star has been arrested. Last night, Antonio Brown was extradited to the United States from Dubai. He is facing a charge of attempted murder with a firearm. Back in May, Brown got into an argument with a man at a boxing event in Miami. Brown is accused of grabbing a security guard's gun and firing at the man that he was arguing with. At first, Miami police did not arrest him because they needed more evidence. Then when they had the evidence for an arrest warrant, Brown was overseas, so U.S. Marshals were sent to get him. Miami police spokesperson Mike Vega said this about Brown's arrest.
Maybe he thought that by going to Dubai that we weren't going to extradite him over. Well, this is just to prove that no matter who you are, or if you commit a crime in the city of Miami, we're going to find you, we're going to identify you, and we're going to bring you to justice.
This is not Brown's first run-in with the law. Since 2019, he's been accused of battery, domestic violence, and failure to pay child support. Coming up, Elon Musk has done spectacular things: electric cars, tunnels, space, AI, social media, you name it. But has he gone too far? That when the record continues.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about getting any rest. There's nothing cozy about airplane seats or hard plastic benches, and those so-called travel pillows, they just don't cut it. You don't need another travel pillow. You need Be Cozy, the world's most comfortable neck pillow. Trapped in the middle seat? Wrap Be Cozy around your neck to stop chin drop, bobblehead napping. Smashed up against the window? Fold Be Cozy over and tuck it onto your shoulder for super side support. Frequent flyer miles got you sitting aisle? Turn Be Cozy to the side for the perfect pillow position. Everyone wants to be cozy, so get the world's most comfortable travel neck pillow and be cozy just like me, Ben Cozy. You get to be cozy. Everyone gets a Be Cozy. Only Be Cozy has patented overlapping arms so you get double support and the comfort you need in any seat on any trip. Go online right now and get this exclusive TV offer. Buy one Be Cozy, get one 50% off. Get yours now.
Hello, I'm Franklin Graham. We've all been watching the storm Melissa as it hit Jamaica. The destruction is just incredible. Samaritan's Purse is responding. We've got planes taking supplies and people in and out of Jamaica. We've got helicopters. They'll be working up in the mountains in some of these remote areas where people are still cut off. So much destruction has taken place. So please pray for them. We want everyone there to know that God loves them and cares for them. So we need your prayers. God bless you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. Please make a great gift. It's Trump time.
I'm Elmer Heinrich, at 91 years of age with my wife Shirley, who is 83. Now both of us are still cutting a wide swath in life, all because of Immuno 150. Now neither of us have any kind of sickness, and we're as flexible as we were 30 years ago, and we still do the physical things we did 30 years ago. Now we are asking you to use Immuno 150 like we do. Give it a chance for at least 90 days so that you can see what 70 plant minerals and 80 additional nutrients can do for you. You won't believe it. Immuno 150 is an awesome nutritional supplement. There's nothing like it.
Yes, it really is incredible.
Yeah, try it. You will be surprised. Order online or call the number listed on the screen, but don't place your order until after you've watched the videos on our website. Thank you from both of us, and God bless.
I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Remember her? That's New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. She caused some noise at a hearing on anti-Semitism on college campuses. And today Stefanik is making headlines again. She announced she is now running for New York governor. And she may have taken a page out of fellow New Yorker and socialist mayor-elect Zoran Mandani's playbook. He ran on how New York is unaffordable, and now Stefanik is running on the same. Here's what she posted announcing her campaign.
Elise Stefanik will make New York affordable and safe.
People in New York, no matter if you're Republican, Independent, or Democrat, enough is enough. We are the most unaffordable state in the nation because of single-party Democrat rule led by Kathy Hochul.
As a working mom, congresswoman, and fighter, Elise knows families need more help, and she'll make New York affordable. That's why she authored and passed the largest middle-class tax cut in New York's history.
Well, responding to that news, current New York Governor Kathy Hochul took to social media with a defiant tone, telling her new opponent Stefanik to bring it on, while also claiming Stefanik is, quote, running to raise your costs and deliver New York for Donald Trump. Stefanik is now banking on buyer's remorse over Mamdani, who Governor Hochul endorsed. The last time the New Yorkers sent a Republican to the governor's mansion was 23 years ago in 2002 when George Pataki won re-election. Okay, the United States, best country in the world, but you already knew that one. How great are we? Well, think about it. We beat the world to the moon. We've never looked back since then. The great nation never stops innovating. We've been pioneers in almost every field, if not everyone. Medicine, medical technology, IT, and so much more. It's the best in the world is right here in the USA. But we've achieved these goals because we're capitalists. No socialist country does. That doesn't come near to that. Their citizens are trying to get here from those countries. We have so much success because capitalism rewards those who build the proverbial best mousetrap. I'm in favor of that. You build the best mousetrap, you should get paid and get paid big. But stop for a second. Is there a limit? Is there a point where we are cutting off our nose to spite our face? I always thought no, but now I have my limits. And we have hit my limit, which is $1 trillion payoff. That's about what Elon Musk, a genius, is going to get from his shareholders if he hits some targets. And that is where it gets pretty complicated. Think about this. $1 billion is a stunning amount of money that you could not even spend in a lifetime if I gave you $1 billion. And 900 Americans are billionaires. That's 9 zeros. Good for them. No one has yet become a trillionaire, but Musk is about to become that. That's 12 zeros. $1 trillion, and you better sit down for this, is 1,001 billions. So if you could spend $1 billion a year, it would take you 1,000 years to spend $1 trillion. But here's the problem. If someone gets too much money, like $1 trillion, there is actually a risk to a robust capitalism since no one can compete against that. And even democracy if that money is used to unduly influence elections. This is the opposite of what we want. So while I love capitalism, love innovation, love free speech, which campaign money is, and I admire Musk's great work, Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter takeover, an AI company, and so much more, is a $1 trillion payout just a bad idea? Coming up, dogs are turning blue in Chernobyl. This is not fake news. We're going to tell you what happened when the record continues.
A lot of accidents happen up on ladders, especially this time of the year, trying to clean out clogged gutters. You don't want to be next. That's why homeowners choose Leaf Guard, the only seamless one-piece leaf shedding and rainwater management system with a clog-free guarantee. Remember, Leaf Guard's attached to the fascia using our patented hanger system with screws, not nails. We guarantee it's not coming down. And if you call during this program, you can take advantage of our double savings sale. We're going to double your savings to 20% off a complete Leaf Guard system. Double your bonus to a $200 Visa gift card with purchase and double your free gift. Receive a $100 gift card with your in-home estimate. And the first 50 homeowners who call will receive a vacation voucher with Leaf Guard purchase. Call 1-800-541-1274. That's 1-800-541-1274.
Yeah, with Leaf Guard, I haven't had any clogs at all. And I used to a lot. So I'm looking forward to many more years with my Leaf Guard system.
And with Leaf Guard's exclusive Big Mouth, the extra large opening and oversized downspouts can handle up to 32 inches of rainfall an hour. And Leaf Guard has a lifetime transferable warranty. Remember, we can bring our factory on wheels right to your house and in most cases install LeafGuard in less than a day. Call now during this program and take advantage of our double savings sale. Double your savings to 20% off a complete LeafGuard system. Double your bonus to a $200 Visa gift card with purchase and double your free gift. Receive a $100 gift card with estimate. And the first 50 homeowners who call will receive a vacation voucher with LeafGuard purchase. LeafGuard, get it today, protect it for life. Call 1-800-541-1274. That's 1-800-541-1274.
A peace plan for Gaza. For the plan to advance, Hamas must disarm. Instead,
tonight, terrifying images emerging from Gaza. Videos show Hamas-linked gunmen carrying out a public execution as they return to the streets.
Hamas on a rampage, executing Palestinians, bloody crackdown, spreading terror. For freedom, not terror, Hamas must go.
Hello, I'm Franklin Graham. Have you noticed how much the world is focused on peace right now? Well, the real question is, do you have peace with God? You see, God made us and created us, but we've been separated from Him because of sin. And Jesus Christ is God's Son, and He came from heaven to this earth to save us from our sins. And you can have true peace with God through faith, simply believing on Jesus Christ. And if you're willing to turn from your sins and invite Christ into your heart, God will forgive you. And you can experience that true peace right now. Just pray this prayer with me. Just say, God, I'm a sinner. I'm sorry. I want to turn from my sins. I believe Jesus Christ is your Son. I want to trust Him as my Savior and follow Him as my Lord from this day forward. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, call that number.
Sponsored by Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, the health of fresh food with the convenience of kibble. Visit drmartypets.com/TV.
Some dogs in Chernobyl are turning blue. Why? Well, you might think it's because of nuclear radiation, because in 1986, as you know, Chernobyl saw the world's worst nuclear meltdown. But it's not due to radioactive phenomenon that these dogs are blue. They are blue because they broke into a leaking porta potty. Clearly, they had a field day playing in that mess, because dogs will be dogs. A nonprofit that looks after more than 700 dogs in Chernobyl shared this video. The group also monitors 100 cats in the area. No word on whether the cats get into the same trouble as the dogs, but cats are a little smarter. The Chris Salcedo Show is up next. Have a great weekend. Stay on Newsmax for all your news.